I remember meeting a gentleman in Singapore several years ago. He owned a small electronics shop. Nothing flashy, nothing that would catch your eye walking down the street. But what fascinated me was his story. For 15 years, he spent every single morning from 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. studying electronics, understanding market trends, and planning his business's future. No social media posts, no grand announcements, just pure, focused dedication. His company supplies specialized electronic components to major manufacturers across Asia. He built an empire worth millions, yet most people walking past his modest office would never guess. That's the power of quiet success. In today's world, we are bombarded with stories of overnight successes, viral sensations, and instant millionaires. The media loves these stories. They sell papers, grab clicks, generate views, but these stories are like mirages in the desert. They are not what they appear to be. The truth about real, lasting success is far different. It's built in the quiet moments. It's crafted in silence. It grows in the dark like a seed pushing through the soil, unseen until it breaks through to the sunlight. Every single person in this room has this same potential growing inside them right now. I have spent decades studying successful people, interviewing them, working with them. And I have discovered something remarkable. The truly successful ones, the ones who build lasting wealth and achievement, they all share one common trait. They work diligently outside the spotlight. They focus on progress, not publicity. While others are busy telling the world about their goals, the quiet achievers are busy accomplishing them. While others seek validation through likes and shares, the silent builders are creating value through service and innovation. While others chase quick wins, the patient professionals are building foundations that will last generations. This is why I am passionate about sharing these principles with you tonight, because in the next few minutes, I am going to reveal the exact strategies these quiet achievers use to build extraordinary success. You will discover why the most powerful transformations happen in silence and how you can harness this same power in your own life. The path to exceptional achievement isn't paved with hashtags and highlight reels. It's marked by quiet determination, unwavering focus, and consistent action. As we explore these principles together, you will begin to see success differently. You will understand why the greatest achievements often come from the quietest beginnings. And the most exciting part, this transformation is available to every single person in this room. It doesn't require special talents or extraordinary circumstances. It simply requires understanding and applying the principles that we are about to explore together. The most dangerous misconception in our modern world is the belief that success needs an audience during its creation. Every day, millions of people post their goals on social media, announce their plans to the world, and seek constant validation for every small step they take. But here's what the most accomplished individuals understand. Real power lies in silence. I discovered this truth years ago while visiting a manufacturing plant in Detroit. The owner, a quiet man in his 60s, had built a $100 million business from scratch. When I asked him about his journey, he smiled and said something I will never forget. The loudest thing in my factory is the machinery. Everything else, the planning, the improvements, the innovations happens in whispers. There's a fundamental law of success that few people understand. The inverse relationship between talking and doing. The more you talk about your plans, the less energy you have to execute them. It's like a balloon. The more air you let out, the less power it has to soar. Every time you announce your goals, you get a small hit of dopamine, a tiny reward that feels like achievement. But it's fool's gold. Your brain experiences the satisfaction of accomplishment without actually accomplishing anything. This is why so many loud beginnings fade into quiet failures. The quiet builders understand this instinctively. They know that energy spent on appearances is energy stolen from progress. They focus on what I call the silent triangle: preparation, execution, and reflection. No fanfare, no announcements, just consistent, focused action. Take the example of compound interest, the eighth wonder of the world. A single dollar, doubled every day for 30 days, grows to over $1 million. But here's the key. On day 20, you only have about $10,000. The real magic happens in those final quiet days. Success follows the same pattern. The most significant growth occurs when no one's watching during those moments of silent persistence. I've interviewed hundreds of successful entrepreneurs, executives, and leaders. Time and again, I've noticed that their daily routines share a common thread. They are built on what I call quiet disciplines. These are the small, consistent actions that seem insignificant in the moment, but compound dramatically over time. Picture a master sculptor working on a block of marble. Each chip, each careful strike of the chisel might seem minor in isolation, but day after day, these small actions transform raw stone into a masterpiece. Your success follows the same pattern. Every page read, every skill practiced, every problem solved in silence. These are the chisel strikes shaping your future. The quiet builders win in the long run because they understand three fundamental truths. First, they know that meaningful progress often looks like stagnation from the outside. Second, they recognize that the best ideas need incubation away from the noise and judgment of the crowd. And third, they grasp that true confidence comes from competence, not from validation. This brings us to the incredible power of daily silent actions. Imagine you are in a room with two people. One talks constantly about their dreams of learning a new language. The other simply studies quietly for 30 minutes each morning. After a year, who do you think will be fluent? The answer is obvious, but the principle runs deeper than just language learning. Every significant achievement in history followed this pattern. The Wright brothers didn't announce they would invent powered flight. They quietly experimented in their bicycle shop. Thomas Edison didn't tweet about his progress. He systematically tested thousands of materials in silence. Their power lay in their ability to maintain focus and momentum without the need for external validation. The compound effect of these silent actions is staggering. A 1% improvement each day, barely noticeable in the moment, compounds to a 37-fold improvement over a year. This is the hidden power of quiet progress. It seems slow, even invisible at times, but its final results are extraordinary. And this brings us to a crucial understanding about the nature of lasting success. The quiet builders win because they are playing a different game entirely. While others chase the spotlight, they focus on substance. While others seek shortcuts, they embrace the long, silent road of mastery. The true foundation of extraordinary achievement rests on 7 fundamental pillars. I spent over 3 decades studying successful individuals across every field imaginable, and these principles emerge time and time again. What's fascinating is how the most accomplished people apply these principles quietly, consistently, and without drawing attention to themselves. The first pillar, self-mastery and inner discipline, is like the root system of a mighty oak tree. Nobody sees it, but it sustains everything above ground. I once interviewed a highly successful CEO in Chicago who wakes up at 3 every morning. Not to post about it on social media, not to tell everyone about his morning routine, but simply to spend 2 hours in complete silence working on himself. He reads, exercises, and plans his day before the world wakes up. This quiet self-mastery has been his secret weapon for over 20 years. Every morning while others are sleeping or scrolling through their phones, he's strengthening his inner core. He's practicing what I call private victories, those personal achievements that nobody else sees, but that form the bedrock of public success. The second pillar is deliberate practice behind closed doors. In my research, I discovered that top performers in every field share this common trait. They practice extensively in private. A concert pianist I work with practices scales for 2 hours every single day, even after 30 years of performing. Why? Because she understands that mastery is built in solitude. This brings us to the third pillar, strategic thinking and planning. The quiet builders understand that clarity precedes success. They take time in silence to think deeply about their direction. I remember visiting a successful real estate developer in Vancouver. His office had no television, no radio, not even a phone on his desk, just a blank notepad where he spent his mornings thinking and planning. He told me, the quality of your life is determined by the quality of your thinking. The fourth pillar is perhaps the most powerful, consistent execution without fanfare. This is where most people fall short. They want the applause before the performance. But true achievers understand that results whisper before they scream. They focus on what I call invisible victories, those small daily actions that seem insignificant but compound over time. I once met a woman who built a $50 million company from her garage. For 3 years, nobody knew what she was working on. While others were networking at fancy business events, she was quietly perfecting her product, testing it with customers, and refining her business model. She understood that execution trumps explanation every single time. The fifth pillar is building genuine relationships. Notice I said genuine, not superficial networking, not collecting business cards, but creating real, meaningful connections. The quiet builders understand that true relationships are built in private conversations, not public displays. They focus on adding value to others without expecting immediate returns. I witnessed this principle in action when I met a successful venture capitalist in London. He never attended big networking events. Instead, he spent his time having deep, meaningful conversations with one person at a time. He told me, the strongest relationships are built in whispers, not shouts. The sixth pillar is continuous learning without showmanship. The most successful people I've studied are voracious learners, but you will rarely hear them brag about it. They are too busy absorbing knowledge, testing ideas, and applying what they learn. They understand that true education isn't about collecting certificates to hang on walls. It's about constant, quiet improvement. While others are posting about their latest seminar attendance, these quiet learners are deep in books, analyzing case studies, or practicing new skills. They are not concerned with appearing knowledgeable. They're focused on becoming knowledgeable. The final pillar is patient wealth accumulation. This might be the most counterintuitive principle in today's world of get-rich-quick schemes and overnight success stories. The quiet builders understand that real wealth is built slowly, deliberately, and often invisibly. They focus on creating value first, knowing that money naturally flows toward value. I remember speaking with a multimillionaire in Texas. His office was modest, his car was 10 years old, and most people would never guess his net worth. He shared something profound. Wealth is built in silence, lost in noise. He explained how he consistently invested in his business, his skills, and the market without ever flaunting his success. These 7 pillars work together, creating a foundation for lasting success. But here's what's crucial to understand. They work best when applied quietly, consistently, and without seeking attention. It's like building a house. The most important work happens before anything is visible above ground, laying the foundation, installing the support structures, getting the basics right. The quiet builders understand this. They know that real success isn't a sprint in the spotlight. It's a marathon in the shadows. They focus on these 7 pillars not because they're easy, but because they are effective. They practice self-mastery not for show, but for growth. They engage in deliberate practice not for applause, but for improvement. They think strategically not to impress others, but to create real value. These pillars are available to everyone. You don't need special connections, advanced degrees, or inherited wealth. You just need the wisdom to understand their importance and the discipline to apply them consistently, quietly, day after day. After studying the daily routines of high achievers for over 30 years, I have discovered that true success follows a specific formula, a set of daily practices that virtually guarantee extraordinary results. What's remarkable is how simple these practices are, yet so few people consistently apply them. Your morning ritual is the foundation of everything that follows. Think of it as programming your mind for peak performance. I remember visiting a highly successful entrepreneur in Hong Kong. At first glance, nothing about him seemed extraordinary. But when he shared his morning routine with me, everything made sense. He rises at 5 a.m., not because it's trendy, but because those first 2 hours are sacred to him. In complete silence, he spends 20 minutes in focused breathing and clarity of thought. Then he reads something substantive, not news, not social media, but material that stretches his mind and feeds his goals. Following this, he exercises for 45 minutes, not in an expensive gym, but in his modest home gym. By 7 a.m., he's accomplished more than most people do in an entire day. He's been following this exact routine for 15 years. No posts about it, no bragging, just quiet, consistent execution. This is what I call the power of silent discipline. It's not what you do occasionally that shapes your life. It's what you do quietly and consistently. Time blocking is the next critical element of the success formula. The highest performers I have studied all share one common trait. They guard their time like a precious resource. They understand that time is the only thing you can't get more of, no matter how successful you become. Picture your day as a series of uninterrupted 90-minute blocks. During these periods, you focus on one significant task, what I call high-value activities. No phone calls, no emails, no distractions. This is where the magic happens. See, how I worked with in Toronto credits his company's explosive growth to this simple practice. He blocks out 3 90-minute periods each day for deep, focused work. During these times, his assistant knows not to disturb him unless it's a genuine emergency. This leads us to the power of deep work, the ability to focus without distraction on cognitively demanding tasks. In today's world of constant interruptions, this skill is becoming increasingly rare and increasingly valuable. The quiet builders understand this. They create conditions for deep work not by chance, but by design. I once visited a successful author who had converted his garage into a simple writing studio. No internet connection, no phone signal, just a basic desk and a computer for writing. He told me something profound. In a world of endless distractions, the ability to focus deeply is a superpower. Every morning he spends 4 hours in this space producing work that has impacted millions. But the magic happens in complete silence, away from the world's noise. The final piece of the daily success formula is evening review and reflection. This is where you close the loop on your day and prepare for tomorrow. The most successful people I have studied never skip this crucial step. They understand that evaluation and preparation are the twin engines of progress. Take 15 minutes before bed to review your day. Ask yourself 3 simple questions. What did I accomplish today? What did I learn? What will I do better tomorrow? This quiet reflection period does 2 powerful things. It reinforces your progress and programs your subconscious mind for tomorrow's success. A highly successful fund manager I know in Singapore has been doing this for 25 years. Every evening, without fail, he reviews his decisions, analyzes his results, and plans his next day. He told me these 15 minutes of quiet reflection have made me millions over the years. This daily success formula, morning ritual, time blocking deep work, and evening review, creates an unshakable foundation for achievement. But remember, the power lies not in knowing these practices, but in doing them quietly and consistently, day after day, regardless of mood or circumstance. These are the invisible practices that create visible success. They work not because they are complicated, but because they align with fundamental principles of human performance and achievement. The road to extraordinary achievement is often marked by invisible battles. These are the challenges that no one sees, the doubts that creep in during quiet moments, the internal struggles that every successful person must overcome. In my decades of studying achievement, I have found that mastering these silent challenges is what separates those who succeed from those who merely dream. Self-doubt is the first and often the fiercest enemy you will face on your journey. I remember sitting down with a highly successful software developer in Seattle. Today, his company is worth hundreds of millions, but he shared something remarkable with me. During the first 3 years of building his company, he woke up every single morning wrestling with thoughts of inadequacy. But instead of letting these thoughts paralyze him, he developed what I call the confidence through action principle. Every time self-doubt crept in, he would immediately focus on completing one small task that moved his business forward. He understood a fundamental truth. Action silences doubt. He didn't try to think his way out of self-doubt. He worked his way through it. This simple shift in approach made all the difference. The quiet builders face a unique challenge because they work without fanfare. Their progress often invites skepticism and criticism from others. I met a remarkable woman in Chicago who built a revolutionary educational platform. During the early years, everyone told her she was wasting her time. Family members questioned her decisions. Friends suggested she get a real job. Her response, she turned down the volume of these external voices and turned up the volume of her inner conviction. She understood that critics aren't the ones who make history. Builders are. She developed what I call selective hearing, the ability to filter out noise that doesn't contribute to your growth. She didn't waste energy defending her choices or trying to prove critics wrong. Instead, she channeled that energy into perfecting her product. This is what I call letting results speak. Today, her platform serves millions of students, and those same critics now call themselves early supporters. Staying motivated without external validation is perhaps the most challenging aspect of quiet success. In today's world of instant gratification and social media likes, working in silence can feel lonely. But the most successful people I have studied have mastered what I call internal scorekeeping. I interviewed a real estate investor who spent 5 years rebuilding distressed properties in forgotten neighborhoods. While others were posting about their quick flips and immediate profits, he was quietly focusing on long-term value creation. His motivation came from seeing the gradual transformation of these properties and communities, not from social media approval. He taught me something profound. External validation is like sugar. It gives you a quick high but crashes quickly. Internal validation is like slow-burning fuel. It sustains you for the long journey. He kept a private journal documenting his progress, celebrating small wins that nobody else saw. This practice of internal scorekeeping became his source of motivation. The art of perseverance ties all of these elements together. True perseverance isn't loud or showy. It's quiet, consistent, and unwavering. I remember speaking with a successful author who faced 12 years of rejection before his first bestseller. What kept him going wasn't the dream of fame or recognition. It was his daily dedication to improving his craft. Perseverance isn't about enduring until success arrives. It's about falling in love with the process of becoming successful. Every day he would write for 4 hours, refine his skills, and submit his work. No announcements, no complaints about rejection, just quiet, determined action. This is the essence of overcoming silent challenges, understanding that the biggest battles are won in private, that strength is built in moments of doubt, and that perseverance is a quiet, daily choice. The path to extraordinary achievement isn't paved with constant praise and recognition. It's built through silent battles, private victories, an unwavering commitment to your goals, regardless of who's watching or what others might say. Remember, the challenges you face in silence are shaping you for success. Each doubt you overcome, each criticism you rise above, each day you persevere without recognition. These are the invisible steps leading to visible success. The most powerful force in the universe isn't technology, isn't money, and isn't even intelligence. It's the compound effect of consistent, quiet actions taken day after day. I have witnessed this principle transform ordinary people into extraordinary achievers, not through dramatic changes, but through small, deliberate improvements that compound over time. If you improve just 1% each day, by the end of the year, you will be 37 times better. Not 37% better, 37 times better. This is the miracle of compound improvement that so few people understand. I remember meeting a software engineer in Austin who applied this principle religiously. He wasn't the most talented programmer in his company, but he committed to learning one new coding technique every day. No social media posts about his progress, no announcements, just quiet, consistent learning. After 3 years, he had mastered over 1,000 different programming techniques. Today, he runs a technology consulting firm that serves Fortune 500 companies. When I asked him about his success, he said something profane. Everyone wants to make a quantum leap, but real transformation happens through atomic habits. The power of incremental progress lies in its invisibility. Most people quit because they can't see immediate results. They are looking for the dramatic breakthrough, the overnight success. But true achievement works more like the bamboo tree. For the first 4 years of growth, you see nothing above ground. The tree is building an elaborate root system underground. Then, in the 5th year, it shoots up 90 feet in just 6 weeks. I once visited a manufacturing plant in Michigan. The owner showed me a process improvement system they'd implemented. Every day, each employee was encouraged to suggest one tiny improvement to their work process. Most suggestions were simple: moving a tool 3 feet closer, adjusting the height of a workbench, reorganizing a storage area. None of these changes seemed significant in isolation. But after 5 years of these microscopic improvements, this plant's productivity was 340 higher than its competitors. The owner told me, big changes make headlines, but small changes make fortunes. This is what I call the power of invisible improvements. Changes so small, they are hardly noticeable, but so consistent, they are ultimately unstoppable. Building lasting success foundations requires understanding this principle of compound growth. The quiet builders know that sustainable success isn't built on dramatic gestures or revolutionary breakthroughs. It's built through small, consistent actions that align with long-term goals. Consider the example of a wealth manager I met in Singapore. She didn't focus on making spectacular trades or finding the next big investment opportunity. Instead, she committed to reading one financial report each morning, analyzing one new company each week, and reviewing her investment strategy each month. These small, consistent actions compounded over 15 years, turning her into one of the most respected investment advisors in Asia. Creating sustainable results requires what I call the consistency over intensity principle. I have studied countless success stories, and the pattern is always the same. Those who succeed in the long run aren't the ones who make the biggest splashes. They are the ones who show up every day, do the work without fanfare, and trust in the compound effect of their actions. A restaurant owner in Chicago shared his secret with me. While his competitors were chasing food trends and creating Instagram-worthy dishes, he focused on improving his basic recipes by 1% each week. He'd adjust the seasoning slightly, refine the cooking temperature, or modify the preparation time. After 5 years, his simple restaurant had a 3-month waiting list while trendier establishments came and went. The compound effect of quiet actions works because it aligns with how real, lasting change happens in the natural world. Trees don't grow in spurts and starts, they add rings steadily year after year. Wealth doesn't accumulate through single windfalls. It grows through consistent saving and wise investment. Skills don't develop through occasional bursts of effort. They are built through regular, deliberate practice. This is the ultimate power of the compound effect. It rewards patience, consistency, and quiet dedication. While others are looking for shortcuts and quick wins, the quiet builders are laying one brick at a time, knowing that each small action, when compounded over time, creates an unstoppable force of progress. I'm reminded of a conversation I had with a mentor years ago. He said something that changed my perspective for F. At the end of your life, people won't remember what you said about your dreams. They will see what you built in silence. This truth becomes more powerful the longer you sit with it. Think about the next 24 hours. While others are announcing their intentions on social media, you can be quietly taking action. While others are seeking validation, you can be creating value. While others are waiting for opportunities, you can be building them. The legacy of quiet achievement isn't measured in followers or likes. It's measured in lives changed, problems solved, and value created. Every person who quietly transformed their industry started exactly where you are right now, with a decision to choose substance over show, patience over publicity, and consistent action over constant announcement. Remember the software developer who coded in silence for 3 years, the restaurant owner who refined his recipes 1% at a time, the investor who read one report each morning. Their success wasn't built on grand gestures. It was built on quiet, consistent action. You have this same power within you waiting to be unleashed. Starting tomorrow morning, you have a choice. You can join the noise, or you can join the ranks of quiet builders who are shaping the future. You can chase validation, or you can pursue value creation. You can announce your intentions, or you can take silent action toward your goals. The path of quiet achievement is open to you right now. It doesn't require special talents or extraordinary circumstances. It simply requires the wisdom to choose it and the discipline to walk it day after day, regardless of who's watching or what others might say. Your legacy begins with the next quiet action you take, not with declaration, not with an announcement, but with that first silent step toward your goals. The world needs more quiet builders, people who choose substance over show, who create value without requiring validation, who build success that stands the test of time.